Where I give you the first term and something about the previous term. What do we call this type of formula? What do we call this type of formula going yesterday? Recursive formula. Yep, I got to do a better job than last period calling on people. This is a recursive formula. I will always give you the first term and a rule on how to find the second term. So if I wanted to find the second term, I guess I should have stressed this more yesterday. What's that represent right there? What is that? What's that telling you to plug in? Previous term. Nothing else. Nothing else but the previous term. No +1, no -1. Darn it, whatever the previous term is, we plug it in. All right, so that's the previous term. So if you guys found the second term, I do what? -3 times what? Just 3. That's it. The previous term, plug it in. That's it. And then add 5. So -9 and 5, -4. If I wanted to find the third term, what would I plug in now? -3 times -4 plus 5. So 17 would be the third term. Yes?
If it was just n and not n-1, it would be 3 plugged in every single time.
If it was just an, not an-1,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that too.
Okay.
If it was here's Aaron, if this was an, that's over here is going to be an plus 1, which now makes that the previous term. Okay, I wouldn't do the same thing. All right, and then I walked around and watched you guys do the delta math. And I don't want to say there was frustration, but I saw some slight annoyance out of some of you that some of the problems I asked on delta math was, here's the first term and the formula, find the fourth term. And you guys had to do what? I got to find the second. I got to find the third. And then I could find the fourth. Nobody could get to the fourth like that. And I saw some slight annoyance, and I agree with you. That is annoying. So here's what I'm going to do at the first thing today in class. I'm going to introduce a second formula to you, which will get you whatever term you want right now. Right now. So if I ask for the 15th term, you can have it. You don't have to go 14, 13, 12. You don't have to find all the ones before. All right? So if you have your notes open to day 2 here, let me introduce this next type of formula, which is called, you had recursive yesterday. This is explicit. Explicit, which means you can find the term, any term you want right away. Okay? How do I do that? Take a look at the first example. Here's my explicit formula. A sub n equals 2 to the n. I'm just giving it to you. I'm not going to tell you how I made it up. I'm just giving it to you. I want the fourth term of this sequence using this formula. Now, you don't have to go 3, 2, 1 anymore. How do I find the fourth term? First of all, how do you write the fourth term, by the way? From yesterday, how do I write the fourth term? 11, how do I write the fourth term?
A subscript 4.
Good. A subscript 4. Now, how do I find the fourth term? Whatever term you want to find, plug that number in for n. So I go back here. It's going to be 2 to the fourth. I want to find the fourth term, so I'm going to plug in 4 for n. And there you go. Whatever 2 to the fourth is, that's the fourth term of this sequence. So you don't have to go through all the recursive stuff. I can just find it now. And the fourth term, 16, not 64. Come on. Okay, 16. There we go. All right, what if you want to find the 10th term? Just plug in 10 for n. Okay? This is what's nice about explicit, that you don't have to find all the terms before to get there like recursive was. And if I remember from last period, 1024?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the 10th term in this sequence if I wrote them all out. And then what am I asking for in part C? What's that notation for? Part C, that's asking for 12.
A
That's the sixth term in the sequence, right? So in this case, I just do 2. Wherever I see an n, I plug in 6. Oh, what was that? I don't remember that. 6. That's the 64. Right? So pretty nice, the explicit formula. You can find that a term anywhere without listing out everything before. What's up, stud?
Wouldn't that only work for that though?
I need to give you the formula though. That's the thing. Yeah, like in this next one, here you go. New explicit formula. A sub n equals negative 3n plus 8. And I'm looking for the first 5 terms. So how would you find the first term here now? How would I find the first term of this sequence? A little help. 8. How do I find the first term here? Not here. I feel like I'm going to do this a lot today. 12. How do I find the first term?
Well, would it be 2 and then?
No. New formula now. We're done with example 1. This is my new explicit formula. So anywhere I see an n in this case, what do you want me to plug in?
Oh, you put the 1 in the.
So now I'm going to do negative 3 times
1.
1 plus 8. New formula every time I'll give you. Okay? So what do we got? 5 for the first term? Can you guys find the other 4 here? Because I need to find the first 5. So can you guys find 2, 3, 4, 5 for me? Okay, what do we end up getting here? What's the next 4 terms in the sequence? Just give me all 4 terms for me. 16?
2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 7.
How's that look, everyone, all right? All good? Okay, so we get how an explicit formula works. And I will give you the formula, okay, to find the certain term I want. All right, I'll start you out with the formula. Any issues? Because now we're going to the meat of today's notes. Yesterday at the beginning of class, I said sometimes sequences don't have a pattern and sometimes they do. Today, we're going to talk about, ones that definitely have a pattern. Okay? Look at my 3 examples of the sequences I put up. 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, and 26. You guys find a pattern? What's the pattern here? I got to add 5, right? Everyone agrees? Number 1 here, I got to add 5. All right, take a look at 2. What's the pattern? Subtract 2. Now, I'm going to rephrase that. Instead of saying subtract, can I say add what instead? Add negative 2. Good. And then how about number 3 there? 1, 1/2, 0, negative 1/2. What's my pattern here? Add a half. Add a negative 1/2. Yep. Notice what I'm doing in all 3 sequences. Adding. If you are adding a certain number to the sequence every time, the sequence is called, anybody want to try to guess that one? Arithmetic. I say arithmetic because I'm fancy, I guess. All right, but either one. Arithmetic or arithmetic sequence is when you are adding the same number every time. Okay, you're adding the same number. That's called, we're going to talk about arithmetic and another one down the line, but arithmetic is when I add the same number every time. That number I add, I got a name for it. Common difference. All right, common difference. That's the number you are adding. Number being added. So what was my common difference in number 1? What's the common difference in sequence number 1? 5. What's the common difference in sequence number 2? -2, and then in 3? -1/2. All right, it's what I'm adding. I'm going to refer to that in a minute because I'm going to show you guys a formula that's going to be called my D value. Common D for difference. All right, common difference. That's called the D value. All right, I gave everybody a sheet of paper. Take a look at that sheet of paper I just gave everybody. You guys might remember this from your geometry or algebra 1 days. Yes? Reference sheet. In January, when we take the Regents, you'll be provided that sheet. There's a couple formulas on there that you'll need for this year. One of them, starting today, look on your right-hand column. Anybody see a term we've just talked about? Arithmetic sequences. So let's focus on that formula right now. Okay? This formula, ready? If the sequence is arithmetic, this formula will find you any term in the sequence. Okay? This formula will find you any term in the sequence. So the first thing I want to do in your notes is copy this bad boy down. A subscript n. And again, I'm getting this right off your formula sheet. Watch. A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times D. And again, you don't need to memorize it. Look on the darn sheet that's with you. You guys can keep those. Look on the darn formula sheet. It's there every time. You don't need to memorize it. You don't need to watch me write it every time. You have it right there. Use it. Okay, let's talk about what each piece means now. Okay, what each piece in this formula means. This one we should already know. What did we just talk about? D value is common difference. That's what I'm adding every time. That's my common difference. There should be also another thing you know up here based off of yesterday. What's this bad boy right here? What's that notation for? First term. So whatever the first term is going to go right there. All right, let's talk about the other pieces. This right here, any term but the first term, because we already have first term, right? So this is going to be any term but the first. Okay, so you can plug any term you want there but the first term. And then that right there, how many terms are in the sequence? Okay, number of terms in the sequence. You can only use this formula if it's what type of sequence? Arithmetic, yeah. It can't be any sequence I bust this out for. It's got to be arithmetic. Again, how do you know it's arithmetic? If I give you a list of numbers, how can you tell if it's yes or no arithmetic? You're adding a certain number. It's got a common difference. Here we go. Number 1. Without doing a thing first, how do I know this? I'm dealing with an arithmetic sequence because I don't see the word arithmetic on number 1. I give you a D value. D value, right? So that's got to be arithmetic sequence. And what's it looking for? Find what term? 9th term. So I get up. It's arithmetic. I only have one formula. It's on my formula sheet for arithmetic. I copy it down. And now let's use it to find the 9th term. Okay, before we plug it in, there's a desperation way to do this. And I do say desperation for a reason. What's the first term again? 10. Don't copy this down because you're better than this. What should the next term be? Common difference is -5. What should the next term be? Next. Okay, you could do this until you hit the 9th term. 2 reasons why I wouldn't do that. One is on the quiz, you know what I'm going to change this to? 250th. And you'll spend all period on that one problem. Second reason I want you to do it, because you're better than that. All right, you're better math students than just to list out the whole thing and find, oh, where's the 9th term? You're better than that. All right, we can use this formula to get to it quick too. So how do I use this formula to find the 9th term? Here we go. This is any term in the sequence, right? Except for the first. What term am I trying to find? So I'm going to write A with a subscript of. Here we go. Here's how I find the 9th term. I take the A1, 10, first term. Good. So I plug in 10 plus N is how many terms in the sequence am I dealing with? Yeah, these are always going to match here. 9. 9 terms in the sequence. -1 with a D value of what? What are you doing with that -5? Is it like this? That looks like subtract 5. And you probably will subtract 5. But what should I be doing with the -5? Multiplying it. So times -5. Now find the 9th term. When you get it, let me know. 10, when you get it, let me know. Is 10 even here today? No. No. How about 16? -30. Is that correct? I lost my notes here. -30, got it. Must be correct. Correct. All right, we good? Okay, I'm skipping over 2. We'll come back to 2 is a little bit too advanced for where we are right now, but we're going to come back to it though. I need you to keep using the formula though. 3, find the 20th term. And now, hey, I just come out and say arithmetic, right? So there's no guessing game of what type of sequence this is. It's arithmetic. So let's get the formula right off the formula sheet. Left side, what are we going to plug in? A20, not 20. Don't plug in 20, right? This is just saying I'm finding the 20th term by first term. 3. How many terms are in this sequence? And remember, hey, that should always match, right? 20 terms -1, and then somebody help me out. What am I going by here? 6, what's the D value? 7. So times 7. Getting a feel of how do I use this to find any term in an arithmetic sequence. And again, could you list out all 20 terms? You could, but you're better than that. And it's going to take you a while to do these problems. When you're ready, let me know the 20th term. 4? Buck 36. Good work. Getting a good feel? I'm going to let you do the next one on your own. Number 4. And then we'll get back to 2. So number 4. Okay, everyone, whoa. Before we just hop into the fire, how do I know this is arithmetic? Other than it's arithmetic day. What is the D value? Does it have one? +4, right? +4, +4, +4. What am I asking for? You to find what? 99th term. Here we go. Find the 99th term. You know it's arithmetic. Find the 99th term. And you're not going to be listing those out now, are you? Much easier to use that formula.
Yeah.
All right, help me plug in. Help me plug in here. 3, ready to roll. What'd you plug in for this left side?
A subscript 9.
Good. First term?
-8.
Plus, how many terms?
99.
99 terms, minus 1, and what was the common difference?
4.
Positive 4. Good. And that gave me the 99th term of this sequence was 5. You got it. Great job. Great job. Sorry. All right. Good work. Any issues? Well, we got to do more with this formula than just find a certain term. We got to do more with it. All right. Question, Tim?
No, I'm okay. I'm just stretching.
Okay. You stretch it out. All right. I got to do more than just find a certain term. So let's go back to number 2. So here's my sequence: -8, -6, -4. I want an equation for the nth term, meaning if I plug in 1 to your formula, I should get out -8. Kind of like the formulas we did at the beginning of class today. Remember those? I plug in 2, I should get the second term. I plug in 3, I should get the third term, -4. That's what I'm looking for. Something that you can write like 2n minus 6. If I plug in 1, do I get -8? I need something like that to help me out. Okay? What type of sequence is this? What type of sequence? Arithmetic, right? You got a formula? Okay, let's write it down. Let's see how this can help us out. A sub n equals A1 plus n minus 1 times d. When I'm looking for an equation for the nth term, ready? N stays n. I don't have to plug anything in for n. I'm looking for an equation for it. So n stays n. So a sub n stays a sub n. What can I fill in for a1? You know that value. 7, a1, -8, plus n stays n. N minus 1, you should be able to find the d value. D value here, 8. Not here, one job. 15, D value.
Would it be 2?
It would be positive 2. Good job. Now, technically, that's a correct answer. But technically, you're in big boy, big girl math. So can we clean this up? What do I mean by clean it up? What can I do with this 2 and this parenthesis? Usually, you guys are used to it being right here, but it's still the same. Distribute. So everyone distribute the 2 for me. Clean this up. Distribute the 2 and then combine anything you can with -8. So what did you get? 2n minus? 2n minus? 10. Good. And hey, is this formula going to work? Everyone right now, plug in 1 for n. Plug in 1 and let me know what number you get out. What number did you get out? First term? Plug in 2. What'd you get? -6. You see how I'm plugging in and I'm getting the terms back. Okay? So go back to the beginning of class. Yeah, this is an equation for the nth term, but this is also known as what type of formula did we talk about at the beginning of class? Where I can plug in any number I want and that's the term. Explicit. Good. This is the same thing as asking for an explicit formula. N stays n. All right? N stays n. That's going to be a big one on Delta Math here today. So we know how to find any term in the sequence. We know how to write a general formula. for the sequence. Next thing, let's start getting a little crazy. Go ahead to number 5. What am I asking for now in number 5?
Go back.
First term. It's still arithmetic, right? Write the formula down. Go ahead, write the formula down. It's arithmetic. Let's go to the reference sheet, write the formula down if it's arithmetic. What am I being asked to find in this problem? 13. First term. Right here, right? I'm asked to find that. So everything else must be plugged in for that. Everything else has got to be plugged in for except for A1. If you got to look back, what did AN mean again? Any term but the first. Look at what I gave you. Do you know any term in this sequence but the first? 14, you know any term in this sequence?
A5.
Which is?
1.5.
So guess what I'm plugging here? 1.5. That's any term in the sequence other than the first. A1. That's A1. I got to solve for it. Plus. Oh, here we go. This N depends on what you just put over here. I put 1.5 over here. What term is 1.5? That's the what term of the sequence. 10? Nope. 13, what term is 1.5? So that's what goes in for N. See the relationship? Whatever term you put here, I got to put its position in for N. 1.5 is the 5th term. 1.5 is the 5th term of the sequence, minus 1. And then what are you plugging in for D? No secrets here. 7. 4.5 times 4.5. So now you can solve for the first term. When you find the first term, let me know. 8, when you find it, let me know. 5. Good work. And again, you want to go like say you get stuck, desperation mode, and you don't want to use the formula. 1.5 is the 5th term. You know you add 4.5 every time. How do I go backwards? Subtract 4.5 every time. You could have done that until you get to the first term. Your call. Anything I can answer here? All right, you ready for Big Trev? Good guy here. Good guy. Opened up a English language school in Japan. And you guys can see how many kids he started off with, how many he gets each week, how many weeks till he hits a 101. Hey, can I get a visual of this sequence real quick? How many did he start with?
26,
Okay, what about next week then?
29, 32.
And I'm looking for when do I hit what?
21.
Okay, so that's kind of like what the sequence looks like, right? When do I hit 101? Is it arithmetic?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
It increases every week by the same amount.
There you go. I'm adding 3 every time. So that tells me I can use my formula somehow. I should be able to fill in everything but one value here. That'll help me find how many weeks. What do you think about A sub n? Can I plug something in there? Any term but the first?
You could do second week 29.
Well, I already know that's the second week though. Remember, these relate. This is that term's position in the sequence. What term do I want to know where it is? 101. So I'm going to plug in 101 here. What's the first term? 26 plus, guess what? I'm going to leave NN because I want to know where does 101 fall in the sequence. That's how many weeks it would be. Does everyone see? I'm going to leave NN because that's how many weeks it'll take to get to 101. And then how about the D value, which we know? 3. So distribute the 3. You can distribute the 3. How many weeks we got? 26 weeks. And again, if you had to do it old school here, again, I'm going to give you full credit for it, but I'm not going to extend the time on the test, though. So you can do that. Any issues? One more? Okay. Finding arithmetic means. I'm not going to go through the definition and read it to you. All right, I'm just going to go right to problem number 9. Find 3 arithmetic means between 2 and 22. Here's what an arithmetic mean is. Ready? Between 3 of them between 2 and 22. 2 is the start of your sequence. 22 is the end of it. And I want to find 3 numbers in between. So when I add the same number, I end up with 22 at the end. So 2 plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this equals 22. Same number every time I got to add. So what are those 3 numbers in there that will get me to 22? I want to add the same number every time, so I end up with 22 at the end. All right, whatever this number happens to be, but it's got to be the same number if it's arithmetic. What's another name for that number I'm talking about that we've talked about today? What's that vocabulary term for that number I'm going to keep adding every time? 11?
Is it the common difference?
Common difference. And that's located in the formula. You can go anytime you want. You don't have to wait for me. And this is all being recorded. So. You too. What do you think you plug in for A sub n? Any term but the first. You know any term but? Jared? 22. Equals. First term? 2. All right, I'm trying to stress this here today. N, what term, what position is 22? What position is 22 in the sequence? It's the what term? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th term. Minus 1. Now find the D value. Distribute. Actually, you don't need to distribute. Just do 5 minus 1.
Mr. Shine room's like a funeral. You know? I hear this room's all exciting in here.
Yeah, not too exciting. Some of these characters. Yeah. When you find the D value, let me know. It's 7 when you let me know when you got it. Is there a 7?
That's Aaron, I think.
That guy, I'll tell you, weaseled his way out of here. 8? No 8? Oh boy. 5? 5. Hey, look at that, huh? Coincidence. Okay, that's not my answer though. That's just what I'm going by. The arithmetic means are the actual numbers that belong in those blanks. So what am I going to do with the 5? What do you want me to do with the 5 to find my numbers? 2 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and I better add 5 at the end again and get my last number, which I do. So here's my arithmetic mean, 7, 12, 17. That's what I'm looking for. Questions? What do I got here? It's what? Forward period. Right? Okay, plenty of time. Chromebooks out. Delta Math, assignment 2.2. Why don't you start working on the Delta Math first? And I'll come around. Let me know if you keep getting one wrong. We'll figure it out. Have that formula sheet right next to you.